so the organization can meet its current and future organizational goals. Now, there's something called talent pools, and we're going to talk about that a bit more when we get right here. But the focus of talent pools is it represents an essential component of strategic business planning. It's basically you having a pool of talent that you can draw from when you need that talent to fill a position. Now, just 1 second, let me be sure this is being recorded. Okay. Now, it also allows you having a talent pool allows the organization to maximize and more effectively target employee and career development efforts. It can be a useful tool for identifying and cataloging the developmental experiences of employees who are candidates for future international assignments. It represents a valuable resource during crisis management. It helps organizations identify and recognize the value of solid performers. It aids in clarifying or guiding compensation decisions to retain key talent. It represents an additional contributor to effective knowledge management. So that's the focus of talent pools. You having a talent pool means that you have basically a group of talent that you can pull from when you need talent. Now, measuring talent management effectiveness, this involves evaluating the percentage of positions for which there are internal successors, comparing the number of external hires to internal promotions, evaluating the differentiation of pay between performance levels, identifying high potential employees, and reviewing their corresponding retention rates. Tracking retention and turnover rates at all levels of the organization. Now, this shows you 5 ways to build an effective talent pool. And you can see having a source, referrals, social media, inbound recruiting, and the career page. Now, here we see the difference between what a talent pool is and what a talent pipeline is. So for the talent pool, this includes your vetted, tested, qualified candidates, both internal and external. It's usually preferred for a company's hiring process. The recruitment professional typically need to constantly nurture these candidates. Now, the talent pipeline, these are candidates who may not have been fully vetted, included in the talent pipeline. It typically is used reactively instead of proactively to fill open positions. The talent pool is not actively managed like the talent pipeline. Okay. Now here we're going to talk about succession planning, which, as you can see, it's long term. So succession planning is definitely a strategic HR practice. Okay. So it's an important talent management strategy to help identify and foster the development of high potential employees so they can meet the future needs of the organization. Now, succession planning focuses on positions that are the most critical to the future needs of the organization. Now, it can focus on all levels and try to make sure that you have talent that is being prepared and positioned for future needs. But its core priority would be those that are most critical to the future needs of the organization. Now, the goal is to keep talent in the pipeline and have people in place for future roles in that organization. And it applies to all levels, not just senior management, even though senior management roles will be a top priority. Now, succession planning must be aligned with career management, training, learning, performance management as well. Now, succession planning should provide leadership development and training opportunities It should demonstrate to employees that the organization has an interest in their knowledge, skills, and their own career development, not just in the organization's needs alone. And for replacement planning, this is more of an operational HR activity. As you can see, it's 0 to 12 months. It concentrates on the immediate needs and provides a snapshot assessment of the availability of qualified backups for individuals in key positions. It is an important element in business continuity planning in the event of an emergency or business interruption. Now here you can see the difference between replacement planning and succession planning. Like I said, succession planning is more strategic, so it's more futuristic and it's long term, while replacement planning is more operational and it's short term. Now, for replacement planning, you're looking at a time frame of 0 to 6 months, the best candidate available at the time, selection and placement of the preferred available candidate. You're looking at vertical line of succession within department or external search, immediate on-the-job training for new replacement. By the decision making is by the executive director or a small interview panel. And this could change in different organizations. And then candidate evaluation is based on past performance on the job, demonstrated competence, career progress to date, and interview panel. Now for succession planning, you can see it's much more long-term, 6 to 36 months, candidates with the best development potential. Identification of high potential candidates happens well in advance. There's a development of the general talent pool. In terms of development plans, you have extensive development planning with specific plans and goals set for each person in advance. Decision making is development plans are the result of input and discussion from multiple managers and multiple senior level executives. Now, the candidate evaluation is by multiple evaluations over time by different managers on varied job assignments. And this just gives you more information on those two. Now, let's look at 7 components for effective succession planning. The number 1 component would be visible support from leadership, define leadership criteria, define plans to find, retain, motivate high potential leaders, simple measurable processes, use of succession planning to reinforce organization culture. Process would focus on leadership development, and the process is an organizational priority. Now, common mistakes in succession planning would include basing future staffing needs only on past or current experiences, developing succession plans in isolation, making it a once-a-year event instead of an ongoing management activity. Now, here you have evaluating succession planning effectiveness. And one way is employee satisfaction with personal development initiatives, management satisfaction with employee performance and job readiness, the extent of goals achieved, and the time to full function attainment of those employees that were in that pipeline. Now, I want to talk about the 9-box grid. And this is a management tool where employees are segmented into 9 groups based on 2 dimensions, performance and potential. Now, the purpose of this matrix is to closely align talent management and development initiatives to where they add the most value. Now, this is what it looks like, and I have 3 different images for this. And you see that you have potential right here. You have potential right here on the left, low, moderate, high, and you have performance right here, low, moderate, high. And can you see that from right here, you see potential germ. This person is seen as high potential, low performance. This person is seen as an inconsistent player. And as you can see, the box it's more of an orange color for those that are not performing up to par. And you have inconsistent player, moderate potential, low performance. Risk, which is low potential, low performance, which is really brown. And then you have average performer right here, which is low potential, moderate performance. And right here you have high potential, moderate performance, moderate potential, moderate performance. You have the star, which is the best of the lot, high potential, high performance. And you have the high performer, which is the moderate potential, high performance, solid performer, which is low potential but high performance. Okay. And this just gives you more information about what it explains it to be, and this does the same as well. All right, so now let's look at knowledge management systems. Now, because organizations operate in complex and competitive environments, the organization must be able to capture, house, share its knowledge, information, practices, and policies. Now, it's equally important to prevent the knowledge loss that can occur through layoffs, retirement, reassignments, and voluntary resignations. Now, knowledge management systems will typically include expertise sharing and organizational learning, knowledge retention and a reduction of knowledge loss due to employee attrition or turnover. Now, there are informal and formal knowledge management systems. Now, with informal systems, this is when employees or teams, they gain experience and develop their abilities to recognize and identify information, best practices, and experiences in an informal setting. Now, informal systems are very influential and they are important to organizations, but they tend to be based on personal networks and they consist heavily on personal contact to get that information. Now, personal networks and social capital, they represent the informal knowledge management systems within most organizations, including global organizations. Now, formal knowledge management systems are characterized by a structured formal procedure for capturing that information, and there is a specific repository for the information that is gathered. Now, the steps for formal knowledge management systems will include inventory knowledge assets, creating a knowledge repository and directory, encourage system use, and update the system. Now, a critical action in establishing the knowledge management system is being able to identify those places in an organization's processes, structures, systems where valuable knowledge has been developed and where losing that knowledge can endanger the organization's success. Now, right here, this just tells you about 7 essential components of a knowledge management system. And you see here we have knowledge workers. These are SMEs, subject matter experts, and content creators in the organizations. Here you have knowledge base, which is a central repository of all knowledge assets and resources, content and workflow management tools necessary to create content and collaborate. Taxonomy, this is a logical system for organizing and categorizing information. Search and retrieval, this is a system that aids discoverability of information and knowledge. Analytics and reports, comprehensive real-time data on user engagement and experience. And then access control, so permission settings for adding, viewing, editing, and using the knowledge assets.